Hi, this is K.Jolie with Crochet Basics, and in this episode we're going to make a super cute mermaid tail for Baby Alive, and it'll also fit other dolls, and I'll give you little adjustments if you're making it for, if you want to make it for a bigger doll like a Journey doll or a American Girl or what have you, you know, maybe a Cabbage Patch or some kind of thing like that, or even for a stuffed animal. Anyway, so we'll get started and I'll tell you what you need. And if you have not subscribed yet, please either hit the red subscribe button below or the little KBJ on the screen and subscribe so that, you know, you can come back and see what else I have, other Baby Alive and doll patterns and stuff. And I have, you know, people patterns and kid patterns and all that kind of good stuff. So what you need to make the doll mermaid tail, the Baby Alive mermaid tail, is acrylic yarn, size 4 medium, of course, is usually what I use. I'm going to use an H hook, which is a 5.mm. US size is H hook, and a couple of stitch markers for later on. You'll need a yarn needle, and a scissor. Okay, and a tape measure is always good to have. Okay, so starting in the main color or what have you that you're going to use for the tail. Alright, if you start with a slip knot, that's fine. I do a crossover, I always say that. And you're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. And in that third chain from the hook, the first loop that you made, you'll do a double crochet. So you're going to make an even amount of these loops, these chain 3 double crochet loops. So I'm going to do 16 works out for the Baby Alive. 16 of these loops works out size-wise. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and you'll do your double crochet in the third one from the hook. And if you move your hand up as you go, then you'll know exactly where you're gonna put your hook in when you're ready to do your double crochet. So these are our working loops, and this is what we're gonna go into when we start working the shell stitch. So that should be 16. Let's see. Okay, now if you twist, excuse me, if you twist, it's not too big of a deal. It's not too big of a deal with that. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to slip stitch into the first loop that you made. So you'll slip, you'll pull up a loop, you'll pull through, and now you have your ring. So this is worked in the round, and it's made a long tube, of course, you know, and then we'll, when we add the tail, the fin, the bottom fin on later, we'll shape it up. Okay, so from here, you're going to try to work around your chaining, and your chaining loops a little bit out, and your double crochet is more flat. Okay, but it's not too big of a deal if you know, pick up the wrong side or what have you. As long as it's not totally like crazy twisted, you should be all right. So from here, do chain 2. Then you're going to go right back in, and we're going to start with a shell. Okay, so you'll go in and you'll do 4 double crochets since the chain is there for this first loop. So here's 1. That. 2, 3, 4. All right, and you have the chaining, which is going to count as your first one. So you'll skip to the next loop, and around the chains you'll do a single crochet, and you'll skip to the next loop, and then you'll do a full shell, which is 5 double crochet right into that loop. All right, and to the next one. And you could see, I'm using a different tripod so that it's not all, that you could see what I'm doing here. And I don't know if it's better or not, because I'm looking through the screen and I don't know if it's close enough. And there you have it. All right, so in the next one you'll do a single crochet, then you'll skip to the next and you'll do your shell stitch, which is a 5 double crochet. And then the next, you know, you'll repeat this all the way around. So 1 single, and then in the next 5 double crochet. So make sure you're working in the center, you know, in between the chains and the double crochet. So in the last one is a single crochet. So from here, you're going to slip stitch into the chains that you made. Okay, chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to go right back into the single crochet that you just made, and you're going to do your double crochets. So you'll do 5 double crochets for a shell for row 2. So from here, This is what we have so far. And you don't really need a, because we're working in the round, but we're actually working back and forth in the round and we're, you know, attaching. You don't really need a stitch marker unless you want it to count the rows or whatever. And then you also have your little tail here to let you know. Okay, so but what you're going to do is you're going to skip the first 2 stitches. So you're going to skip 1, 2, 1, 2, and in that third one, that's the center double crochet from the shell from the previous row, if that makes sense. Because I know sometimes when I talk it doesn't come out right. Okay, but in that one you'll do a single crochet, and then you'll chain out your you'll yarn over, you'll skip 1, 2, again 1, 2, and in that single crochet from the previous row you'll do your 5 shell, your 5 double crochets to make your shell stitch. And you'll just repeat this all the way until you get to where you started. So it might look a little snug, you know, when you're first doing it, you know, when your stitches are all tight and a little bunched up and stuff like that. But you should have some good amount of stretch and everything. And they're not, whoops, banged her head. She's not wearing her proper outfit. She's got a different, she's got somebody else's outfit on. But just to show you, okay, that it'll fit, you know, and we're making it for the baby alive, but it should fit a bunch of different other dolls, you know, width-wise or whatever. And then if you need to, if you're making it for a different, you know, something of a taller, if you're making it for a taller, longer body doll, you just make it longer, not a big deal. Okay, as always, you know, I always tell you, we'll get it together, we'll you know, make it right, make it fit and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so you'll just repeat this for row 2, pretty much what you did for row 1, just alternating where your shell stitches, your 5 double crochets are going. And you could do, you know, multicolored yarn. You could change the, you could do stripes, whatever you like with this. So I'm just showing you in a solid for now because it's, I'm always weary of the stitches not properly showing on camera. Okay, so at the end of the row, you'll do the same exact thing. You'll slip into it and you'll chain 1 and turn right around. You'll chain and you'll go right back in and start working a shell for row 3. And you'll just repeat this until you have the length that you want. Okay, so I mean, it's pretty simple. You're just working the tube, you know, the body part of the blanket here. And watch, I don't have a tape measure. Nope, I do not have a tape measure in my bag of tricks. Not my normal tape measure, of course, but it'll have to do for now. So if you're doing this for the Baby Alive, Baby Alives are pretty short, bodied. Okay, sorry, I'm zooming in and out. I really don't know what to do here. Trying to make it so that you could see what I'm doing and, you know, also see progress or whatever. All right, anyway, so the longest, if you're making it for a Baby Alive, the longest you're gonna make the length of this is maybe 10 inches or whatever, just so that it's nice and long. If you need to make it wider around, do it by twos, by adding 2 more chain 3 double crochet loops. So if you need it to be, you know, maybe a cabbage patch or, you know, a stuffed animal or something like that, if you're gonna, you know, if that's your bestie or whatever, you know, then do it by twos. And let's see, I feel silly. Got my Stanley tape measure here. So this is approximately 7.5 or so. Because of the bends, I always add a little extra onto the measuring, okay? Just when I'm approximating. And also it stretches, it has stretch and all that kind of thing. So what you're gonna do is you're going to work this down as many rows as you need to get the length that you want. And just repeating row 2 and row 3, you know, with the shell and the single crochet. And from there, I'll show you how to do the tail, the bottom fin, and then we'll do a little decorative thing up top since we have the holes, okay? And we'll go from there. So from here, this is 18 rows in of the shell stitch. Now, you know, just the way I showed you with, you know, row 2 and row 3, just repeating it and such. Okay, so you could see more or less it's her body length and all of that. So from here, what I'm going to do is a single crochet all the way around. 1 single crochet in each stitch that you did, same hook and all that kind of thing. So you'll chain 1 and you'll just start working your single crochet for row 19 if you're working the pattern the way that I wrote it. So I come up with about 48 stitches, and then you'll slip and pull your yarn, just a little bit. Okay, so from here, this is the back, more or less. I mean, it doesn't really make too much of a difference, you know, once we fold it and all that kind of thing. Okay, so, but from here, what you're going to do is get your stitch markers. You might need them if, you know, just to measure it right. Okay, so I have these little plastic jammies. These work great, and they're usually bright colors. You can usually find them in a contrasting color that, you know, is not going to get lost up in your yarn and such. Anyway, so what you're going to do, and you can make this longer if you like, if you're making this, you know, just to reiterate. I know I have a tendency to reiterate a lot. Sorry. You know, but it's yarn. It's not set in stone. Okay, so from here, what you're going to do is you're going to fold in the bottom corners. Okay, so you're going to shape it this way. So just folding in, just even, you know, make sure your fingers are, we're eyeballing it. I'm not really, you know, giving you an exact, because when it's on, it's, you know, you're not going to notice if it's a little cockeyed or what have you, you know. All right, so starting in the corner, sorry. All right, so if you need to, you can, you're going to go through all 4 of these layers right here. And the same thing when you get to the other side. So if you need to, you can pin it, you know, but make sure if you do pin it, make sure you pick up each one, you know, from this side and the other side, so that you know you're picking up every stitch that you need to pick up, which is all of them. All right, so I'm just pinning it straight through the top of my stitches. I hope you can see all of this. I'm using a new tripod that is really, really tall. That's why I've been zooming in and out and all that kind of silly. All right, so you'll chain 1, maybe not. And then you'll do 1 single crochet, and you'll try and pick up, here's my first 2 sets, sorry. Okay, here's my first 2 stitches that are in the back, and let me go across and pick up the front 2 stitches. And this is a little hard, you know, to get through all of the stitches, but you can do it. I have faith. All right, and then you'll move to the next. And you can always move your stitch markers, blah, blah. All the stuff I always tell you. But just try and make sure that you're catching your 4, you're going through 4 stitches. Okay, adjusting the camera, as always. Okay, so you should have at least 3 or 4 stitches that are going through the 4 different layers. And from there, you'll go across until you catch the next corner in single crochet, because this is we want it nice and like flat for when we do our tail and attach that. So you should be picking up across the front and back. Now if this is, you know, a little too hard or what have you, you can always seam it up by sewing it instead of, you know, trying to crochet it. Not everybody can manage that, you know, picking it up. But more or less, you'll always be able to get a needle through. All right, so here I'm at my other corner. I hope that's zoomed in enough. All right, and so I'm going to go through the first one. I'm going to pick through the second. I hope it's showing. Doing my best so that it shows. All right, so I got all 4 on here, so you could see it. And then you'll just single crochet right through that. And then you'll do that again, you know, until you finish off. So that's what that looks like. It's all sandwiched up in here. And this just gives it a little shaping, and you know, because fish tails, you know, mermaid tails, fish tails, whatever, they do go in. So it's actually like a little sleep sack right now. And then we're going to work on our tail. Okay, so you can leave a tail if you need to. If you want to do another row of single crochet, that's fine too. Okay, but that's where we're at so far. And I'm going to find my scissor. And you're going to snip off. All right, now you can leave that for a bit. You don't have to worry about this right now. All right, so essentially, you know, the side seam, the back seam becomes a side seam, and it's really blends right in. Not a big deal. All right, let's work our tail fins. So with the same size hook, pull some yarn, same shenanigans as always, right? So if you slip stitch, if not, I always do a crossover. You're gonna chain 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And you'll skip that first one from the chain, and you'll go into the next one, and you'll do a row of single crochet, and you should have 14 single crochet. Okay, so first row is 14 single crochet, and then we're going to work back in a half double crochet, but you're going to chain 2, so 1, 2, and you'll skip the 2 chains you just made, And in the back loops only, which is the side of the braid that is furthest away from you. So here's the front loops and then here's the back loops. All right, and you're gonna do 1/2 double crochet down the row in the back loops only. And you should have 14. So you'll yarn over and pull through and all of that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, here's 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. Okay, so here's 13. And in the 14th, you're going to do 2 half double crochets in that 14th stitch, in the very last stitch. So 1, oopsies, 1, 2. All right, and then you'll chain 1 and you'll turn your work. So this is switching up the stitch and doing it in the back loop or whatever. It's just giving it dimension. It's giving it, not that, you know, flat look, just a more realistic or, you know, authentic or what have you as far as a fish fin. Okay, so for row 3, you're going to do, you chained 1 after your half double crochet. So for row 3, in the first one, you're going to do, oh, you're picking up both sides. On the single crochets, you're going to pick up both sides of the braid, and on the half double crochets, you're only going to pick up the back loops, and that's for the whole fin. Okay, so you'll do 2 single crochet in the first, and then 1 single crochet down the row. So then chain 2, turn work, and we're going to do the back loop half double crochet. And as a little reminder, I guess, you know, you could use a stitch mark or what have you. But just as a little reminder, the opposite of where you started is where all of your increases are going to be. Okay, so if you have your little dangling tail, you're not increasing there. You're increasing on the opposite side if you forget. Okay, so you'll chain 2 and we'll work our back loop half double crochet straight down the row, and then 2 in the last stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, chain 1, turn your work, and then we'll single crochet back. So 1, 2, Okay, so you'll chain 2 because we're going to work our double crochet back. We'll do our increase in our single crochet. So you'll chain 1 turn work, so 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, so for row 8, this should be row 8, right? For row 8, you'll do your half double crochets in the back loops, of course. Okay, so this is what it's looking like so far. So it's when we attach it, this is the bottom of the fin. So when we do attach it, this will be folded over a little bit, kind of scrunched up just a tad. Okay, just to give it a realistic look, I guess. You know, it's yarn. Okay, so that's how that's gonna be. All right, so we'll do 2 more rows. 3 more rows. On this. So this is a single crochet. This should be row 9. I kind of lost count, but I'm going by the amount of stitches because I know it by the amount of stitches, even though I lost count of what row we're on. Sorry. All right, so 2 in the first, 2, and then 1 in all the rest, and it should be you should be up to about 22 stitches now. 20, what did I say? 22, yes, okay. 22 stitches, chain 2, and we're gonna do the half double crochet going back for row 10. So half double crochet in the back loops. And then we're going to do one more row back in the single crochet. So you'll chain 1, turn your work. You'll do your 2 single crochet in the first one. And 1 in each of the rest of the row. So you should have 24 single crochet as far as the last row is concerned. Okay, so you'll just repeat what we just did to make the other side of the fin. Okay, and you can either crochet it on, or you can sew it. Now I'm going to sew it actually, but that's why I wanted to do the single crochet across and then the way we attached it, so that it was more of a like a straight line and not a wavy, because with the shell stitch you get a wave. It doesn't end flat. Alright, so we'll finish, we'll work the next fin. Oh, before we do that, I just want to show you one thing. With a yarn needle, so that when we're ready to attach, you're ready, I'm ready, everybody's ready. Okay, so with a yarn needle, alright. Now, not too much, not ridiculous, but you just want to push through the top, kind of like a, oh, what do I want to call it, to cinch it, I guess, but not too much, like, you know, because you don't want it to be, like, you want it to fit the bottom, so you don't want to cinch it too much. You're just actually, you know, you're just giving it a little wave, or a little, you know, I must say, I just don't know what the words are or feel for using today. Okay, but just like that, a little in and out with your tail, with one of your tails. Okay, your finished tail. So that it has a little bit of life, a little bit of movement going on. Okay. And then from here, when we attach the other one, I don't have another one made just yet because I'm making it along with you. I have it made in a different color, but I feel it's silly. Okay, so this is the other fin that I have made that's readily available, and it's pink. All right, I think these are, yeah, completed. Okay. Now you could do this however you like, you know, if If you only want to cinch it a little, that's fine. If you want to cinch it a lot, but just remember when you go to sew it, it might look, you know, a little wacky or wonky or whatever, uneven, you know, crazy like. Okay. A little better. To be honest, I can't really see everything that's going on this monitor because there's all little boxes and stuff that tell you all the different functions or whatever, and I don't know how to make them disappear because I haven't had this camera very long. Yes, I'm very honest. Okay, so just to cinch it up a little bit. Where's my string? Is my string? No, it's my string. Okay. So, very hard, this tripod. It's very high up and doing my best here. All right, so you'll make your next side, preferably, you know, matching color. And then we'll go from there. All right, so I got both of my bottom fins done. Not attached yet, just showing you. I am gonna sew them on. When you do the placement, sorry, when you do the placement, you want it to be a little bit onto the outside of it so that you get a nice little curve, and then this will meet up in the middle. All right, so I'm gonna sew these on however you want to sew them on. If you want to pin them, as always, your choice, you know. All right, and we'll go from there. We'll sew them on, pin them in place, and then we're good to go. So if you just want to pin the corner to the outside, I feel I should zoom in on that, but I don't know. Whee! Okay, so if you wanted to, sorry, new camera, new tripod, new pattern, what have you. Okay, and then here this will all meet up in the center. Sorry. You gotta get your laughs where you can, right? So just make sure the curved part, you know, that'll attach on the outside. And you'll just go in and out to where your single crochet is. That's, again, why we did that single crochet. So if you want to mark the, if you want to use your tails and start in the center and work your way out, that's your choice. If you want to pull a thread or a string or whatever to sew it on, I usually use the yarn itself because it blends and all that kind of good stuff. So, but if you want, you can count it, or you can measure it, or you could just downright eyeball it. Not a, you know, not a, it's never too much of a disaster area. But the bottom I have about 5 inches across, the bottom on the tube, the tail itself, and then the bottom fin. So if anything, all right, so I should have enough string here, and I'm gonna just start right in the center and sew it that way. And as I always tell you, I'm not very good at sewing. I just get by, but that's how I do. So. And you can even cinch it a little bit as you're sewing it on. Just make sure that you're getting a good bond. You know, I always try and go through at least twice. And it doesn't have to be a plastic needle, but this is an actual yarn needle. That's what it's advertised for. Oh my gosh. Okay. Couldn't get it off. I think that looked good sewing. So embarrassing to sew on camera. Alright, but then you would tie that off and you know, knot it, tie it off, weave it in, da 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 da. Alright, so just as long as you got a good bond. You know, you think it's not, you know, it'll be washable and whatever, because don't forget, the Baby Alives, this is, you know, the Baby Alives or whatever doll you're going to make this for, you know. When you make the stuff for the kids, the stuff ends up on the floor. So, you know, you put the work in and they use it a few times and then it goes on the floor. Because, you know, that's how that goes. So, but then you'll go from there. I'm just going to knot that off just for now. I'll take care of that later because I'm a rebel. Alright, and let's see. Which is this is. So I'm going to tie these together. These are actually my starting tails from both fins. So I'm just going to tie them together. For no real reason, just because I'm here, they're here. And then I'll take care of them later, which is good. You know, when it's an item like this, you could just feed it up a little bit on the inside of the, you know, the item itself, and then weave in however you're gonna weave in. All right, so I'm gonna sew the next one on, and then we'll do a little fancy shell up top. So just, you know, if you're like me at this point in the project, you have a whole mess of strings. So just, you know, try not to hit any of them, kind of a thing. Only your working thread, what you're using to sew on. So if you haven't already, I hope you subscribe, you know, and come back. I've been trying to get more patterns up and stuff, more videos and all of that kind of thing. And as always, you know, sharing is caring, so share with your friends. But I do have a full-size mermaid tail coming, you know, because this is a part 1 of it too. So this was for my dolly, and the next one will be for me, which is, you know, kid size, you know, but I always try and make them adjustable. And, you know, so that it can go, I try and make my patterns easily adjustable. And as always, you know, if you need to see more of the pattern itself, let me know and I'll see if I can accommodate. I always try and accommodate fans, you know, people who like the patterns and stuff, because you know what, I want you to make my patterns, of course, right? And that's the whole point of these videos, and putting them up on Facebook and YouTube and whatever else, other social media. All right, so that's what it looks like. For the most part, which is silly. Giant tripod. Okay, and then that's her fin, and that's as zoomed out as I got it. So we'll see what I could do with that. Okay, now just as a detail, I'll have to show you in pictures that fit in frame because this does not. So now just as a detail, you know, you would tuck in all your ends and all that kind of thing, snip off, blah, blah. All that good stuff we never like to do, right? And, sorry, I got little things all over my table here. All right, now just as a detail, in a different color or this color, whatever you want to do, you know, your choice. You don't even have to do this. You could do like a shell, like a, you know, or a crocodile stitch or whatever you like, just because these loops that we started with are so big, and just to give it a nice detail, okay, you would attach your yarn. So 1, 2, 3, because we're rebels. And then just do, in this one you could do 6, because you did your chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So, and then in each one, let's see what I'm doing here. Okay. So, you know, you could put a little shell detail or what have you going up, just to, you know, if you want to do it however you want to do it. To open it up, or, you know, but just something, a little detail to, you know, give it that finished look and all that kind of thing. So this is a regular 7 shell, and this is just an alternating, a single, a half, double, a double, a half, and a single, which gives it a little tiny shell edging. Okay, but something like that, just all the way around, one row, different color, gives it a nice little detail. You know, if you know, if you're making, because I'm going to put a full-size mermaid tail, so, you know, if you wanted to do that to match it, you know, if you alternating colors. And I guess that's it for now. This is the Baby Alive, or the doll mermaid tail for the Mommy and Me mermaid tails that I'm doing for Kid and Dolly. If you have any questions, please ask, as always. Comments are welcomed. Nice critiquing is welcomed. Being a horse is behind is not welcomed, because there's no need for that. And, you know, this is all my opinion and whatever and everything, you know. Take it or leave it. Please subscribe, because it's always nice. Please share with your friends. Tell them to come come over. And I'll be back again real soon with the regular size mermaid tail. And as always, happy hooking, because it keeps you off the streets. It keeps you out of trouble and all that kind of thing. And we like to stay out of trouble. And always looking super cool to all our friends and all that kind of thing. And I'll be back soon. So thank you so much for watching. And have a super great day. Thanks again. Crochet Basics, K.Jolie. Take care.